Let's be completely honest about the elephant in the weeb-filled room. Dub supremacy is the hill I'm willing to die on while the pretentious sub-only purists clutch their imported body pillows in horror. The religious devotion to Japanese voice acting has created a cult of self-important anime fans who've somehow convinced themselves that understanding exactly 0% of what's being said, without reading kindergarten-level subtitles at the bottom of the screen, is the authentic experience. These linguistic masochists will sit through hours of dialogue they don't comprehend, nodding sagely as if the mere sound of Japanese honorifics is bestowing upon them some mystical cultural understanding, all while missing crucial animation details because their eyes are glued to a scrolling text feed. The absurd notion that needing to read a show instead of watching it somehow makes you a more sophisticated viewer is the anime community's most successful mass delusion, since convincing themselves that fan service is actually meaningful character development. Meanwhile, dub watchers are comfortably absorbing both the visual storytelling and dialogue simultaneously, like how entertainment was actually designed to be consumed, without having to pause every 5 seconds when subtitles fly by during action sequences or when multiple characters speak at once. The smug superiority of sub-defenders is all the more ironic considering that modern dub quality has improved astronomically in the past decade, with talented voice actors bringing nuanced performances that often better contextualize emotional beats for Western audiences than literal translations ever could. The elitism has gotten so out of hand that people will straight-faced argue that Japanese voice acting for characters explicitly stated to be American, British, or German is somehow more authentic than hearing them speak English, as if Attack on Titan's clearly Germanic characters were secretly Japanese the whole time. The sub-purist commitment to needless difficulty is especially baffling considering most wouldn't dream of applying this backward logic to any other foreign media. These same people aren't watching Parasite or Das Boot raw and untranslated, but somehow anime demands this bizarre viewing handicap. The greatest con ever pulled on Western anime fans is the widespread belief that all Japanese voice acting is inherently superior, as if Japan doesn't also produce its fair share of phoned-in performances, miscast roles, and overacted scenes. This mythology persists because most Western viewers can't actually tell the difference between brilliant and mediocre Japanese voice acting. They're responding primarily to the exotic nature of the language rather than actual performance quality. It's the anime equivalent of Americans thinking anyone with a British accent sounds sophisticated and intelligent, even if they're spouting absolute nonsense. Meanwhile, English dubs are subjected to microscopic scrutiny where every minor flaw becomes evidence of inherent inferiority, creating an absurd double standard where Japanese voice actors are infallible gods of their craft while English voice actors are dismissed regardless of their talent or decades of experience. This selective listening extends to adaptation choices where purists screech about localization changes as if translating rather than directly transcribing dialogue is some cardinal sin against the creator's vision, completely ignoring that effective translation has always required cultural adaptation to preserve meaning and impact. These same linguistic fundamentalists conveniently overlook that their precious subtitles are also translations subjected to word count limitations, timing constraints, and the translator's interpretation. They're not receiving some pure, unfiltered version of the creator's original intent either. The practical advantages of dubs are also casually dismissed: the ability to look away from the screen momentarily without missing crucial dialogue, the freedom to multitask during slower scenes, the accessibility for viewers with reading difficulties or visual impairments, and the simple comfort of not having eye strain from hours of subtitle reading. The sub-supremacy argument essentially boils down to it's better because it's more difficult and less accessible. The same backward logic that would argue books are better when printed in an unnecessarily small font or that movies are improved by deliberately uncomfortable seating. The entire debate reeks of artificial barriers to entry designed specifically so certain fans can feel superior for overcoming unnecessary obstacles that they themselves have established as markers of true fandom.